And this time I'm listening and I'm hearing it and going, I love that song. I hope that's his song because of course, if it's a really good song, I would love it to be his. And so I barged in and I'm like, did you write this one? Yes. And then I hear the content and I'm like, oh gosh, how are we going to sing this song?
Good morning, John and Mick. So great to meet you in over Zoom in Winnipeg.
Yes,
that's right.
It's an early morning for us.
Broadcasting live from Winnipeg, the center of Canada.
Amazing. And you said it was so cold there?
Yeah, it's pretty cold. We were getting away with no winter until about a week ago. We had almost no snow and temperatures around zero. Although you said around zero is cold for you. For us, around zero is perfect. But today it's minus 23.
Yeah. Zero is t-shirt weather.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now we're down to minus 20 and minus 30. So.
Oh, that's incredible. Oh, I don't know how I will be able to survive that. But anyway, you guys look fit and healthy, so it's working. But now tell me, you are a group, two members of the group. It's the Janzen Boys. Am I right?
That's right. Yeah.
Now tell me about your group.
Yeah, so we're a family band. This is my dad. I'm Mick, and then my brother is also part of the band, but he's not here today. His name is Simon.
He might wander through.
Yeah, he might come. Come through sometime. But yeah, we started in 2014, busking at a local market here in Winnipeg. Actually, to start off, it was just Dad and Simon, and then I joined a little bit later because I initially wouldn't sing. So the deal for me to join them busking at the Forks was that I had to sing 3-part harmonies.
Yeah, he was always shy. He always wanted to be in the band. As a matter of fact, when he was really little, around 4 years old, he came in and said one day to us that we're going to be rock stars and we were going to have a band. So the band was always his idea.
Oh, really? But he didn't want to sing.
But by this time it was like 5 years later, and he didn't like to sing. Even when we started, when he was really little, we would do stuff on stage sometimes, and he liked to be the drummer. He would sit way at the back of the stage, and as long as people didn't notice him too much. And so then, my bargain was, well, if you're going to sing in the band, you have to sing in the band. You can't just play mandolin. We both play an instrument and sing, so then you got to do that too. So he said, okay, fine, then I will. But he was 9 years old at the time.
Yeah, so we started busking at the Forks, and then eventually got some festivals. We sing kind of folk country. I like singer-songwriter. We got a little bit of singer-songwriter stuff in there, especially in the new album. But yeah, that's how we got our start, and we just been playing ever since.
But now you, all three of you, you've got beautiful voices. I mean, you and together, it's such a great sound that you're making.
Well, the harmony has always been sort of the main focus. I grew up. I was a farm boy growing up, and in the 80s, within the tractor that you're driving, we only had. I remember Dad had only one set of cassettes in there. And I don't know if you've heard of them, but I think it was 3 or 4 cassettes of the Oak Ridge Boys. You know the Oak Ridge Boys in Germany?
No, I don't know. No.
They're a big deal in America and probably, really well known in Canada. But they were an old sort of harmony singing country band, 4 voices. And he had this Oak Ridge Boys American Harmony. And because farming is pretty boring, you basically drive up and down the field for 12 to 14 hours a day. And I had these 4 cassettes in the tractor. All I listened to was American Harmony for hours and hours and hours on end. And I often thought, I think that cassette series taught me how to sing harmony, and so then it became kind of a life theme. You always wanted to sing harmony with the boys too.
Yeah, but I mean, this is you listen, so it must have been something that registered in your brain.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess I better credit too. We did grow up in a church where part of our church tradition was singing in 4-part SATB. Harmony singing was the law. You didn't have a choice. Okay. You had to sing harmony. So we grew up with harmony being an important thing, but not guitars and rhythm beats. So eventually when we wanted to sing more upbeat music, we just brought the harmony into that. And it's working pretty well so far.
Well, it's beautiful. And also you play instruments. So is that something that you've done as a child? John?
Me?
Yeah.
For me, it was my Aunt Anne gave me a guitar. That's how it all started. I was 12 years old, but I actually wasn't pushed very hard. I was, in some ways, I was pushed not to do music, which I think might be a good strategy for parents, especially a teenager. If you tell them they must practice their instrument, then they won't. But if you tell them no, that you de-emphasize it and tell them it's not an important thing, then they'll be into it. So that my especially my dad tended to be more like, this is a useless pursuit. Why would you bother? So I wasn't pushed to do music. So that meant I ended up singing whatever I liked. So whenever I was doing music, it was something I was enjoying. I think I did 2 years of lessons and I hated them, and they let me quit those really quick. So then when these guys came along, it was kind of my strategy, was just to have instruments everywhere, but don't push. Because if you make them have a lesson, or so many of my friends who were made to have lessons grew up not enjoying their instrument. But
and I remember we grew up in Japan, and in our house there was instruments everywhere. I remember, I think the first instrument that I tried was the drum kit, and then I moved on to the mandolin because that was in the house.
Just 2 fingers, remember?
That was really easy to play. Yeah,
we had
5 years old. I could use these 2 fingers, and I could play so many songs with just those 2 fingers.
Yeah, we had a Japanese friend who it was his mandolin, and he always said, "Hey, you can start with 2-finger chords." And then he said, "Hey, your kid really likes it, so I'm just going to leave my mandolin at the house." And that's kind of where he got started. Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful?
Simon, it was the same thing. He started with, when we first started busking at the Fork, Simon was actually on a little snare.
Yeah.
He didn't play the bass, but eventually he picked up the bass as well after a couple of years. So
you are basically self-taught musicians then?
Yeah, fully.
Yeah. I guess there's never been a lesson. Well, no, the lessons.
I took cello lessons.
Cello.
Yeah, I saw the cello as well.
Yeah, that was pretty short.
I think it's a red cello.
I didn't take cello lessons for too long.
Oh, she's talking about the upright bass. So that's Simon's. That was an upright bass in a more recent video.
Oh, that was a bass. Oh, okay.
But when he was very little, he did take a cello lesson for a time, but that didn't last.
And then I took piano lessons for a very short time again in Canada.
But then we're living in an age where like anyone who wants to do music has YouTube, right? So it's been kind of the thing, like anyone who wants to learn an instrument just go pretty much that we know of that really does well, usually goes to YouTube, or even now, strangely, Instagram and TikTok Reels are fantastic for learning instruments because they're like short attention span, right? They little bit parts, and they give you one tiny thing to learn, and that's actually a pretty good way to learn. And then they come up so much, so the repetition is there.
In the last couple of years, I started playing guitar, and
all YouTube,
all the things are on YouTube, and it's just finding songs that you like. Most of the time, popular songs. So there's already so many tutorials on YouTube and TikTok and whatever that it's kind of easier to pick up.
Yeah, and also that you're talking about Instagram, you also hear other musicians and you see what they're doing, and it's sort of inspiration. It's not always competition. It's more. I spoke to a painter once, and he said he doesn't see other people's work as competition either, rather than learning from them and trying to take that and do your own thing. So, but
collaboration.
Wonderful. Yeah, but what I really like about what you're doing is It's a family thing, first of all, and it also you get the impression you're really enjoying what you're doing.
I mean, that's
pretty fun.
usually
Yeah.
true.
Okay.
I mean, one of the things about being a family, I've been in bands all my life, and one of the more unique things about being in a family band is that you tend to fight better. You know, like when you don't know each other as musicians, like when it's you and a bunch of friends, you might not have a deep friendship level.
Yeah.
And so then ego is always really dangerous.
Yeah,
like if somebody has an idea that somebody else doesn't like, you know, in former bands, you would have to tiptoe and walk on eggshells around that. Our current situation probably be seen as really brutal. Like we kind of quickly, no, that's a terrible idea. No, and then someone will fight back. I like that idea. You're hearing like there's just way more intense back and forth.
Yeah.
But then even in fights, but a fight gets resolved. If we get mad at each other during a practice, usually the rule is, okay, break. Everybody go do something else for 20 minutes.
Go to a different room.
Yeah. And we often don't resolve whatever it was. We just like come back. Okay, everyone. And often the problem is you're tired and hungry or something, or you're not, something's not working. So then as a family, you tend to conflict better, or conflict easier or something.
Well, actually, just yesterday I posted an interview with a violinist, and him and his brother, they are a duo. The brother plays the cello, and I asked the same question if they fight, and he said exactly the same answer that you gave now. In that, you know, they're brutal, but they are it's just straight to the point and no tiptoeing around something, and it just gets resolved. Yeah,
and creatively it works. I think it works better. Like
absolutely.
I think one place where we found it, like when we were making the album that we released just a couple weeks ago, in the making of it, we did notice that when it comes to song production, because you have to make choices when you're editing a song, and those choices have to be final. So him and me will sometimes reach a place where we completely disagree. Like I'm going this way and he's going that way, and I'm not going to go that way. And
then I usually lose.
As if you lose. I think it's the opposite.
I don't think it's the opposite.
Where we did resolve was that on some songs we said, okay, this is your song to produce. I'm not touching it, and I'm not giving input anymore.
Good idea.
And he did the same thing in reverse. Like there were certain songs that were like, that's your song, your edit. And so I think eventually when we have the time, it would be nice to get to 2 edits, like where we have multiple edits of a song.
That's the best way to go for the future.
But John, you haven't used the technique, the parent technique of saying, because I said so.
Maybe on a song or 2, but he uses the teenage technique of saying that's what's happening and I don't care. And,
I'll quit.
So it kind of goes both ways.
Okay. So
we did reach a place on some songs where we were like, okay, for this to move forward, we're gonna just have to choose a lane. Like you finish that one, I'll finish this one, or else we're never gonna get this album out.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that was because we had like a timeline. We were rushed. We wanted to get an album out by Christmas. And
I've been working on it for 5 years already.
Yeah, and COVID shut down some production of the album, and we hadn't put out anything of ours since 2015. So we really needed some new music up.
Yeah, that's true.
But isn't it amazing that you can? I mean, we're joking about this now, but it's like. Mick, you have a young impression of how you would like, or you would like the sound to be, and John, you have like,
old impression.
The older, but you know what I mean. It's like
100%.
Yeah. So that
I mean, that is one thing I noticed that I often. So in some ways, I don't know. Do you have kids?
I do.
The one thing I find parents notice about their kids, it has been I don't know, as a parent, I thought maybe my kids' personalities would be more similar, that we'd all be kind of alike, because we're all from the same genetic pool, but that hasn't been true at all. Like, so Mick and Simon are very good friends and very unlike. And Simon is actually more like me, I would say. And Mick, like at Mick's age, I would never have had the creative confidence that he has. Like, he will say 19, 20, 19 still. Yeah. At 19, he will say, no, this is what I like, and that's what I'm doing, and I'm not budging. Whereas at 19, I would have said, oh, I don't know, whatever you want, like whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah.
It took me to 40 or 45 before I got to a place where I thought, no, this is what I like, and this is what I'm doing. But he's already like that. So, oh man, he'll be something.
But amazing, yeah. But isn't it also because you said that you were part of other bands as well? So you bring also some experience. So they must have also seen you do things in the past.
I mean, sure. Lots of that, yeah.
We were around lots for, I mean, his bands were, the ones that I remember were in Japan. Like,
their biggest hero is still like our bass player.
Yeah.
Really?
We were around for lots of whatever band practices and gigs. I remember one time, was it the Hard Rock Cafe in Japan?
The Hard Rock Cafe downtown Nagoya, Japan. Yeah, it had an elevated stage, and we dragged all the boys up. They were just little guys. We dragged them up on stage for the final number. I think that was a Christmas gig, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, but
so suddenly they were having an experience. I think you were literally 3 or 4.
Yeah, I don't remember.
You were very young.
Very young,
and they had this experience of being on stage singing to a crowd from very, very early. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is definitely that experience or that sort of exposure that they had. But now you're also saying you're writing your own songs.
He is, yeah.
Okay. So
yeah,
Mick, what inspires your writing? So what type of music do you write?
I love, like, the song, I think the Courthouse, the one on the album Courthouse is the one that we kind of was our first co-write. Was that the first one? I feel like that was the first row.
Music was all Mick.
Co-write. And I don't know. I mean, that one is about a pretty harsh topic, but kind of two is sort of the theme of that. And it's I guess a couple years ago, we went through some pretty harsh things as a family. And so this album is kind of along those lines and on that theme. And Courthouse is another one of those songs that is perfectly fitting that theme. And I remember just coming up with the line, I don't even remember the song anymore. Oh, when you said I do, was it true? Because now we're going downtown to the courthouse. And I just started crying. I was like,
amazing. Well, I have goosebumps now that you say that because, beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when the first time he sang it for me, and my response was like head in hands going, because it was a conflicted response of going, on one hand, that's a fantastic song. We have to sing that song. On the other hand, how am I going to sing that song? It's almost too raw. It's too transparent. I mean, that is what we want to do, but holy, I thought this is a fantastic song. We have to sing it.
So I remember I was singing the song in a room just in our house, and he barges in the door. Was that your song?
Yeah, because he used to sit up. He used to sit upstairs. I mean, he often would be singing somewhere in the house, and you can hear him through the walls singing. And often it's a popular song or a famous song. He sings a lot of Beatles songs and things like this. And this time I'm listening and I'm hearing it and going, I love that song. I hope that's his song because of course if it's a really good song, I would love it to be his. And so I barged in and I'm like, did you write this one? Yes. And then I hear the content and I'm like, oh gosh, how are we going to sing this song?
Yeah, but it's when it comes from deep within, then it's always tends to also other people can relate to it, and it's powerful.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just thinking about this now. I wrote that first lyric in our old house, which was 3 years ago. So that song took a long time to get fully done.
Develop.
Develop, yeah.
But talking about that now, so can you see as you, because the children grow as well, grow older, and can you see this sort of an evolution in your band with the fact that
for
they,
sure. Yeah, big time. I think that's
In the beginning, it was sort of like
cute little sons,
cute kids.
yeah.
Yeah. The biggest thing was the older he got, the less busking money we would get.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because when he was 9 years old, he had this big fuzzy head of hair, and he would really like sing energetically and loud. And so we used to call it, like, remember we jokingly would call our band when we were busking, we would call ourselves the Bluebills, because in Canada a $5 bill is blue. So we always wanted we wanted to get the blue bills. Then we started calling ourselves the green bills, because that's 20.
okay.
And then one
first to be purple, then green.
Oh, I don't think we ever did the purple bills, though. We skipped right
You
to
just
green.
did that.
We skipped tens.
And then one time we got a $100 bill. And I actually think it might have been, when we tell that story, I think it was a Chinese tourist who maybe didn't know. They thought this was a dollar. We're not sure, but we got a $100 bill. Yeah, we said, should we call ourselves the brown bills? But then as the older they got, it was a completely different. It shifted to songwriting and heart feelings. In the beginning, it was a lot of Beatles songs and John Denver, Country Boy.
Yeah.
And, it was entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where do you perform now? Do you do concerts and so? Do you tour?
Yeah, this fall was actually pretty busy. We do quite a bit of private stuff.
But then a lot of festivals
concerts.
This past summer.
And festivals. And we just did our first Christmas show that we put on ourselves. That was really, really fun. And it did pretty well. So we'll do that again next year. But this year we're applying to a lot of festivals and trying to book a tour.
Yeah, we're starting to
get a little bit of the States.
Since we released the album, we're getting a lot of requests from Canada and US right now. Eventually we want to travel, do stuff in Europe. My wife's family is all from Germany, so we have a lot of connections. Germany, close to Luxembourg, and so
come to Vienna.
Yeah, well,
eventually.
Actually, I was in Vienna one time, and that was one of the prettiest cities I've ever seen in my life. So we have a very strong interest in actually, and when we do ads, when we run ads in Europe, they perform better than anywhere else. And Austria is one of the countries.
Austria,
Holland, Sweden, Austria, and Ireland is where everything performs the best for us. So that's definitely
that's how I saw you.
Did you? Was it an ad?
Yeah. It was an ad. Yeah, I saw it on the ad. Yeah.
Yeah, we get so much response from Austria and Germany. We don't, because we don't run ads in Germany, but we suspect. Yeah, because Holland is very positive and Austria is very positive. So our hunch is that Germany will be positive too, but we don't run as many ads there. So,
well, it's I'm sure it's something that you will get audiences for. The sound that you have, I mean, the music that you make is really beautiful. But now, who does the business side of things?
Well,
I take orders.
Okay.
It's actually, I really like how it works, because he does all of the emailing and the booking and the interviews and the stuff that I don't want to do.
But he does all the tech stuff. I don't even understand, like, all this stuff when it comes to setting up. Like, I don't really, to be honest, like social media very much. Yeah, so I'm making my peace with it because it's necessary, but he's really quite good at it.
I do all the stuff that he doesn't want to do, and he does all the stuff that I don't want to do. So I think it works out pretty good, but I stay more towards the ads and
Simon
website
is the best musician.
And
I just wanted to ask.
Bass the most.
If you'll notice when you, Simon's ability in the musical realm is probably far beyond ours.
He's the only one in the band who will get hired for other
shows. That's
right. Oh, really?
So we gotta make sure we pay him and keep him happy. He could get taken away.
Yeah, you have to keep that one. That you have to keep him happy. But now, guys, tell
sure.
me, what is now the wish for you for the future? I mean, except from coming to Vienna and doing a concert here, what else would you like to do?
That would be high in the priority.
That would be high in the priorities.
But go ahead.
A lot of our goals this year is touring. Like we haven't really done a tour, and so we've got some festivals all across, or mostly in Western Canada, but we want to do shows as well in Eastern, and especially Newfoundland and the Maritimes. We have a lot of pull there.
Yeah.
But
this summer, it looks like we'll try to go out west and east, because I mean, Canada, like, we're in the very low population part of Canada, and I mean, Canada's famous for being really rough for touring, right? Because you have vast expanses between urban centers.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have to go west and do that, and then go east and do that, because all the population is in Alberta, BC, and Ontario, and us Manitoba, Saskatchewan people in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, we have. I mean, you can still do okay, and then America is the much bigger market. But the nice thing about Europe is that the visas are really easy. Like for musicians to go to tour in America, there's a visa process we have to go through that makes touring a bit of a challenge. But in much of the continent of Europe, that's not a problem. I think England is a bit more difficult to get a visa for, but a lot of Canadians do go to Europe for tours because a
lot of actually Winnipeg bands that we're friends with and know go to Europe pretty often.
Yeah, and it's also easy to travel from country to country when you're in Europe.
Exactly.
It's close by.
And cheap too, right?
Cheap, and they're not so far away. Centers aren't so, like in Canada, like from Winnipeg, the next closest large city is literally 6 hours drive.
Oh, okay.
You know,
but I just recently I saw there are so many South Africans in Canada. So what about South Africa, touring to South Africa? Do you have South African fans there?
Well, I don't think we have. Do we have a single South African fan that we can?
I don't know. I'd have to.
I don't actually know.
Yeah. It's not actually. I mean, it's kind of like in the same category as Australia. You'd like to go there, but it's so far away that you can hardly imagine how you could make the finances work. But I know we used to do a thing called Fringe Festival, a theater festival. We had a kids show and we toured Fringe festivals. And I remember when we were doing Fringe Festival stuff that South Africa and Australia would come up, because the Fringe scene in those countries are both very strong.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
The cost of the flights is kind of prohibitive. We have to figure it out.
World tour eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Have you got connections to South Africa?
I'm a South African.
No,
originally. Yeah.
Oh,
so I'm always a bit, thinking about that also.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen. Which is the city with the mountain overlooking the city? Is it Cape Town?
Cape Town. Yeah.
Cape Town.
Yeah.
Everyone who goes to Cape Town just can't stop talking about the area then.
Yeah. Now, there's something in the country that you will love, I'm sure. I mean, this is why South Africans also go to Canada, because there's
a lot. Yeah.
A lot. Yeah.
Where I grew up, all of the doctors were South Africans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, doctors won't stay in the country in Canada. So South African doctors come and they are often the country doctors. That's how I grew up.
I know a few South African doctors who are there. So no, I can absolutely believe that. But listen, guys, this was so lovely to talk to you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I really love your music, and I'm going to keep following and seeing what you're doing.
Awesome.
And we'll see you in Austria someday.
And
we're looking forward to coming there.
See you in Vienna for the tour.
You let me know, and I want to come to the concert, and we'll grab a coffee when you have.
We certainly will. Sounds fantastic. Okay. Thanks so much for setting this up.
And send my regards to Simon.
We will do.
Maybe
I thought he was going to show up.
I thought he was going to. Yeah,
he's like hiding.
No, that's fine. The cat replaced him at times. So
I don't even know where the cat is now.
Everyone's having breakfast.
But have a lovely Saturday, and hope to see you soon.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.